Hey everyone, it's Harlan Kilstein for NLP Copywriting, and welcome, Happy New Year, welcome to Day 1 to 30 Days of Communications Excellence. I'm going to be guiding you over the next 30 days in the basics of NLP. We're going to get into some advanced pieces as well. Let me just say, if you have no background in NLP, you're in the right place. If you do have a background in NLP, I'm going to be adding things that are a little bit more advanced or some concepts that are outside of NLP. Concepts that are more associated with other than conscious communication from Dave Dobson, or elements that are more associated with Ericksonian hypnosis. The bottom line is what I'm going to be sharing with you is what is working. Okay? Now you're on a page that's dedicated to NLP copywriting, and I have been spending a good deal of my time figuring out how to apply the concepts of NLP to work in print. But I've got to back up, because NLP was not originally designed to work in print. NLP was designed for an interchange between people one-on-one or people in groups, and generally in a therapeutic sense. Let's take a step backwards and look at the history of NLP. In the early 70s, two people got together, accidentally met, and they joined together to study what made some people more effective at what they did than others. Why are some people better therapists than others? Why is it when you go to therapist A, your problem is cured in a session or two, and if you go to therapist B, you can stay in therapy for 17 years and come out as big of a dork as you were at the end of 17 years as you were when you went in? They wanted to study why some people made all of the sales and why other people just couldn't beg for a sale from their own mother. What made people really good at what they did? Why were some people the best in basketball and others seemingly doomed or sentenced to sit on the bench? And what they wanted to do was they wanted to study excellence in order to reproduce excellence. These two people from widely divergent backgrounds got together, teamed up, and they created what they called NLP. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. It's a mouthful. They worked together for a few years, and then they parted. So let's fill in some of the blanks. The two people were Richard Bandler and Dr. John Grinder. Bandler was involved in mathematics and computers. Grinder was a professor of linguistics, and his own field of expertise is called transformational grammar. Don't worry, we never studied this kind of stuff in school. If you read a book of transformational grammar, it is guaranteed to put you to sleep. They got together and they decided that looking at individuals, they wanted to find out why people were really good therapists and why others weren't. And they began coding their work. And after they did this, they began producing models for other people to use. They produced a number of extremely valuable models. They first began teaching this in Santa Cruz, where Grinder was a professor, and they put together small groups and they shared their knowledge. But soon they went to wider circles, teaching large groups, mainly therapists, their techniques. But at one point when they went cross country, they even did a show briefly on the Las Vegas Strip of some of the more interesting discoveries that they've made. NLP has been evolving for years. The founders of NLP, Bandler and Grinder, did not part on very good terms. Bandler sued Grinder and everyone else, claiming that he owned the rights to NLP and that he was the creative genius behind it. It was a lawsuit that dragged on for years and years. Now they're doing totally different things. Grinder was always interested in working with organizations. Bandler gets up in front of groups and teaches and does some one-on-one work. Both are effective at what they do. What we're going to be studying over these next 30 days are some of the classical elements of NLP, and I'm going to point out the things that work in print, the things that work in face-to-face meetings or in speeches, and the elements that do not work in print, the elements that do not work in video. So these elements, the videos that we're going to be doing, they're going to be here on the blog. You are free to come back and invited to come back and study them. Many of the elements that we're going to do over the next 30 days are going to take some study to do. You don't automatically get it. It's not like picking up a novel and going, oh, I found out who the good guy was or who the bad guy was. It's not like that. These are skills that you have to practice. The more you practice them, obviously, the better you get at them. But even more so, the more you practice them, the more they become second nature to you. Okay? Let me make a point here. When I was getting started in NLP, I used to walk around with all kinds of little charts and cheat sheets and so forth. I don't have to do that anymore. I'm not even thinking, oh, they said this, therefore I'll say that. It's all hardwired in by now. But I've been doing NLP since 1975. So we go back a ways together. And I've trained at the highest levels, and just doing it in working in consulting and counseling and working with people and business and sales, I've touched a lot of different places. Now, I don't know how you got to this page. You could have gotten to this because you're on one of my lists. You could have gotten to this page because you're following me on Twitter. You could have gotten to this page because a friend told you to come here. So I want to make sure that you receive regular updates, and I'll let you know that videos are up. I won't bother you every day of the 30 days, but you know that you can come back here. I'll send out some reminders. I hate being deluged myself by email that doesn't really mean anything. In the upper right-hand corner, there's a place for you to enter your name and your email address. When you do that, you'll be getting my list of recommended readings of books on NLP, and those books are a pretty good start. It's not meant to be an exhaustive list. It's meant to be a start. I'll probably be recommending some other books as we go on. But go ahead and put your name and email address up there so that you can get that list and so we can stay in touch. My goals are that the next 30 days, since they are the beginning of 2009, that they be a transformational period of time for you. And when we come back tomorrow, we're going to just dive right into NLP. Welcome, and let's get started.